I have upgraded to Solidworks 2023. Won't notice too many changes. Probably the main one is on the splash screen. We get the 2023. One of the things it did though was I lost my template that I created for the parts. So we're not too far into this install and into creating these in the first of the semester. Everything's kind of just getting started anyway. And I'm going to hold off on talking about the cloud drives. One of the reasons that I like the cloud drives, let's see, let's find our C drive here, is that for whatever reason, and probably after the last, well, might as well call it 25 years of software and operating systems and making things work and be able to um, continue. They have kind of scattered where everything is at. So in Windows 11, we're going to look for, and let's see, nope, you know, I think my SolidWorks data, the program data is not shown. So, and what am I looking for? Oh, on the view and the show, we want to make sure that we see file name extensions and then view and show hidden items. So several of the system background um, files, folders are going to be in that category of you're not going to see them unless you turn that on. So if we go to program files for the 64-bit, then we're going to be able to see the SolidWorks Corp, the SolidWorks, and usually we're going to language, and some of the things that we would be looking for are our bill of materials. All right, some of the tables, some other things get placed in there. And really, this is just be aware of these three different locations, because when we're looking at the file locations inside of the software, we're going to need to be able to point to these. So the SolidWorks data and language, English, browser setup, not too much there. The toolbox standards, toolbox version data, updates and browsers. So less appears to be going into data. And then in program data, SolidWorks 2023, we have the templates, so assembly, drawing, part. And I am not seeing, when I did the update from 2022, I'm not seeing any of those folders came over. So apparently I did a complete install when I told it to go that route. Another one is the design library. So any of these things that don't show up, this program data is going to be pretty important. And then the thread profiles for the thread wizard. Let's see, one more. The gtol dot symbol or sim and properties.txt. These have to be in the same folder and we need to know where they're at. Otherwise, we will see bracketed symbols instead of a diameter symbol. We'll see mod dash die or whatever. So um, let's go ahead and run through this again then, since I'm not finding and I did not create a cloud location for my 2022 part template. And well, let's go with, I want to check the visual. So we did a kind of an overview already of what most of the tools, locations, command manager, heads up display, status bars, task pane. If you're not seeing these, be aware that you can go into the toolbars. Let's see if I can grab that over here. Toolbars, and so things like the task pane get turned off, the view heads up could possibly get turned off. You want to make sure those are staying in place. Things that we would want to see. We don't really need temporary axes. Coordinate systems are good. If we create them, I do like to see the origin. The view sketch relations are turned off, which is fine. We'll talk a little bit more about those as we get into the sketching, but they're the little green dots that eventually take over. 3D sketches view and view sketches, we want to be able to see those and then be really careful with hide all types because it does exactly what it says it's going to do. The decals are the only thing that's left as a toggle when you turn those off. So it's more of a discipline. Oh, I got the appearances on that one. It's more of a discipline thing to clean up after yourself than just turn everything off and deal with it later. All right, so we want to make sure Instant 3D is turned off. Instant 2D is turned off. Let's go into the options and we'll check the most common. Yes, we want to enable confirmation corner. Auto show the property manager. Those are all looking pretty good. Not going to really do anything in MBD. Again, we'll talk about the logic of marking all of the parts assembly dimensions for import into drawings by default, when that is also a default in the on the drawing side for the import option. So I think those have been in conflict for 25 years. Colors, we want to use the document scene background. Be careful if there's something that you can't see or doesn't show up quite as well. Don't change a lot of things all at once, but I believe the selected item 1 in one of the versions, the colors and the between one or two of the selections, I ended up changing that to a brighter color. So I may do that again if it comes up. In the sketch, auto rotate view is good. Don't see anything. Gonna check on this one because this one still bothers me a bit. I haven't been able to see it. I mentioned it in the 2022 setting up video, but it doesn't have the error in Windows 11. So the sketch numeric input and dimensions are kind of have still, as far as I know, still have an issue in Windows 11. Basically, they're not doing that. Relations, we do want those. I don't particularly care for the grid, but we'll take a look at that as well. Display, selection, like the box if you prefer the lasso. You can also do that on the right mouse selection. Not worried about assemblies just yet. Default templates, the part assembly drawing, notice it's going to program data. File locations, program data, Solidworks, and program data again is a hidden folder. You're not going to be able to navigate to it unless you show those hidden items. Or you're not going to be able to navigate to it very easily. So the document templates, we just want to check. And the other one are going to be the symbol library features, also in program data. And when we get to the drawing templates and the sheet formats, we'll be looking at that one. So those are all fine for now. I'm going to double check that I am showing solid body. So it did keep some of these from the previous install. And that all looks good. Now there is a global setting from session to session, and then we are locking some of these document properties into the template. I haven't really found a good chart or table that says this is all, these system options travel with the sessions, and then the document properties travel with the part. Does seem to be a bit of a crossover, and I've never really taken the time to figure it out. So another one, reversed mouse wheel, good to know. I usually turn those off unless I'm having issues. And if you do turn those on, notice that it's going to app data, local. Let's change that to something in my documents that's easy to get to. So if you find you're accumulating a huge amount of auto recover and a huge amount of backups, you can address those on a regular basis. Especially if there's any sensitivity to the projects that you're working on. You don't want anything under an NDA, non-disclosures, just sensitive material floating around out there, not secured and not really aware of that there is buried in the background. Enabled 3D interconnect, my preference is to turn that off. Mainly because of the CAM software, the manufacturing side, I prefer to have the import, and for what I do, it doesn't help having that link, that external reference back to the original Parasolid step file, those types of things. All right, on the document properties side, we're not really dealing too much with these right now, but we can work on the standard. The shaded cosmetic threads are usually turned off. Depending on your video card, they will look really good or they will blank everything else. So for the most part, turn those off. We always display text at the same size, otherwise text kind of takes over unless you have a really big screen. Units, I would like to be in 3 decimal places. And right now this is a millimeter, so we are creating a millimeter part file first, and then we'll go back and change it and save it as an inch part. Most of our projects are in millimeters anyway, so I'm kind of cruising through these, don't see anything major. All right, and there may be some other things that pop up that we would want to, and that would be one, just for clarity, I prefer to be in the plain white background. I think it does help with the video. So let's save as. And we're going to change this over to, where did it go? Part templates. Just made it on the screen that time, and then it's putting this in. So we're going to go part metric, part millimeters, whatever you want to call it, and save. So in manufacturing we are working in millimeters and thousandths of an inch. Certain industries will go centimeters and microns, and it's really what you get used to that kind of determines those units. In the end, they're all just numbers. And so, I did do that. All right, so let's do that one more time. 3 decimal places, okay. And am I still in the part DOT? So kind of my screen is a little bit compressed, but I am looking at the title and that little pop-up tells me that I'm still on the document template. So I should be able to save that. All right, the conversion over to an inch template is then inch, pounds, and seconds. I want 3 decimal places. We go from inches to millimeters. And okay, degrees, be okay really with 1 place or none on the degrees. And those don't usually end up being too critical. So, and then we need to do a file save as. Make sure we're back to our document template. And this one, instead of metric now, is going to be inch, pounds, and seconds. All right, so I went through the last part kind of fast. We've done this a couple of times in the previous videos, so really we're just getting set up. And what you find is, my general rule is if I change something 2 or 3 times, it's time to save it to the template. I don't need to keep going through that process and clicking on the options, finding things in the display and the toolbar, the views. Pretty much whatever it is that I'm working with, I would like it to be set to begin with. Last one of note is if we right click and look at the tabs, again, do not turn everything off. But if you're not using, which you probably aren't using, the MBD, model-based dimensioning, model-based definitions, I'll go ahead and turn direct editing on as an example. And until we're using sheet metal or weldments or the other stuff, we can leave those off. All right, so we'll wrap this one up and get into some sketching.